So in the 1980s, I was a student at the University of Delaware, and I spent a lot of time at the Deer Park Tavern with my friend Brian. Now, he was a really good-looking guy, so I was always the wingman. But on this one particular night, I became the pilot simply by knowing the word lascivious and using it in a sentence. It was late October, almost Halloween, and we met these two really cute girls from Philadelphia. And we were hitting it off, and my friend Brian says, "Let's get out of here. Why don't we get out of here and go someplace?" And I blurt out, "Not for anything lascivious." And I'm like, why the hell did I just say that? But it turned out to be the exact right thing to say, because Joanne, the one who I was most attracted to, was an aspiring screenwriter and wordsmith. And she said, "Ooh, lascivious, I love that word." And suddenly, she was mine. So she invited me to visit her at her place in Philadelphia the following weekend, and of course I went. She lived in this shitty row house with four other film students who all sat around smoking clove cigarettes and debating whether The Big Chill was a masterpiece or a piece of shit. It doesn't hold up. We spent the afternoon in Fairmount Park wandering around, talking about literature and film, and it was kind of like a Woody Allen film. It was like statuesque, beautiful woman, dorky looking dude. Later in the afternoon, she says to me, "You know, I should have mentioned this to you sooner, but I have some gigs tonight. So you can either hang out with my roommates or you can come along and be my wheelman." "Gigs?" I said. "Yeah," she says, "I do stripograms. So I go around to parties and I dress up in costumes and I strip down to, no, I don't get naked, I just get down to bra and panties and I do it a big routine. And so what do you think?" I'm like, "I'm in." So the first gig is at a Knights of Columbus where there's this bachelor parties raging. And she is dressed as a nurse, and she does her routine. She strips down into her bra and panties, and honestly, it was more comical than sexy. But I'm thinking, man, this weekend is turning out amazing. I'm dating a stripper. At the next gig, she was a policewoman. She handcuffed a guy to a keg and danced around and got a holster full of dollar bills. At the third gig, I immediately had a really bad feeling. It was a frat house, and these guys were really, really, really drunk. They took her into this room, and she was dressed as a gorilla. Head to toe, big furry costume, big red kissy lips, red gorilla bra, red gorilla panties, and I'm thinking, who the hell orders a gorilla stripogram except maybe Jane Goodall? But these frat bros seem to be into it, so they're hooting and hollering while she does her routine. First off comes the gorilla bra, and then off comes the gorilla panties. And that was pretty much it. There wasn't anything else to take off except the costume, and they wanted the costume off. So they're saying, "Take off the costume." So she did. She took off the costume, and she danced around in her bra and panties for a little bit. But they weren't satisfied with that. They started shouting and screaming, "Take it off. Take it all off." And it was really loud, really obnoxious, and really intense. And I could see terror in her eyes. I was terrified too, because I was like 140 pounds and I'm the muscle. But I kind of summoned my courage, stepped forward and said, "Look guys, she's not going to take it all off. That's not what we do here. Just back off." They weren't happy with that. They started shouting, "Take it off. Take it all off." And I was honestly just terrified. So she says, I'm not doing that. I'm getting out of here right now." And these two guys, two of the frat bros, grab me and hold me back, and I'm just like struggling to get free. And the guys all surrounded her and just started shouting, "Take it off, take it off." And then I guess the lead frat bro gets in the middle of the circle and starts saying really, really horrible, degrading things to her. And I'm struggling to get free, and she's saying, "I'm getting out of here." And suddenly the frat bro just starts inching forward, and he suddenly lunges at her. She grabs his arm, flips him over, and he lands on his ass, just cussing and moaning. And I'm like, oh shit, we're dead now, these guys. But the frat guys, all they did was start cracking up and laughing at the guy who just got flicked by the gorilla girl. I managed to wriggle free, picked her up, grabbed her, took her outside, we got in the car, squealed out of the neighborhood, and I'm like, this is crazy, why do you do this? And through tears in her eyes, she said, I need the money. I'm all alone. My parents are gone. I have to pay for my own living expenses, and I'm determined to become a film writer. And in that moment, I realized that I wasn't much better than those frat bros, because I was looking at her just lasciviously, and I felt like an overprivileged poser. My parents paid for all my college expenses, and I just really realized that she was a woman and I was a boy. So we dated for about 8 months, and the distance between Newark and Philadelphia got difficult, and our romance faded out, and I lost touch with her. But, and so I don't know if she ever became a filmmaker or a screenwriter, but I hope so. And I hope if she ever came across Harvey Weinstein or somebody like him, she flipped his ass on the ladder.